Hey guys, Jack here. Stick around after today's episode to hear how new clients can save 50% on AgYield's full suite of consulting and technology for 2025. This exclusive offer is available now until April 1st. Don't miss out. Terms and conditions apply. Check out the video description to learn more.
Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, February 21st, and this is the AgYield War Room. I'm Dan Dempsey, and I'll be moderating today's session. As always, if you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to drop us a line in the chat area, and we'll be sure to get to it during the show. Overnight markets here at March corn unchanged at $4.98. March soybeans were down a penny and a quarter at $10.44 and a quarter, and March Chicago wheat was up 6 1/4 at $5.91 3/4. We are through 13 of 19 settlements for the spring crop insurance discovery period. We've got corn just about 471.5. Soybeans are at 1057.5. So we're going to get that wrapped up there next week. Weekly export sales kind of solid across the board. Corn was just over 1.4 million. The upper end of the range was looking for 1.6. Soybeans 480,300 for old crop, 19,300 for new crop. Upper end of the range there was looking for about 500. Wheat sales also upper end of the range, 532,700 for old crop, 98,500 for new crop, and meal sales 366,900. And then oil sales finally well above the estimates, 19,400. So good morning, guys. We're going to put a bow on the week. Lot going on. One thing to note, it was kind of nice to see they've got some funds that are being released. The USDA releasing some funds that were frozen. So I think they're starting to dig through the programs that are ag specific versus, some of that slush fund stuff. So good to see that happening. But outside of that, Dustin, maybe a few thoughts to wrap up the week here, and then we'll throw it around the room.
Yeah, we are, we're quickly approaching a, kind of a known for crop insurance. So I think that does change the game quite a bit for risk. Everyone can kind of, I think on our end at least, just have a little bit more confidence going into the season, knowing that you've got your guarantees set. Compared to where we were a couple of months ago, corn's jumped pretty good off the lows from 428 up to, it looks like we very well could see a guarantee above 470. What's next? I think that we still have to be very cautious about balance. I think there's a reason the funds have gotten this long. We still have to prove some of these things, like we have to prove a second season Brazilian crop still. Everyone keeps talking about 95, 96 million corn acres, and I agree that would be bearish if we did get, what the USDA is going to write down for a trend line yield. But we still have to grow the crop. And what does that also mean for beans? If bean acres are down at 83.5 million acres or 83 million acres, where does that leave the bean ending your balance sheet? And a couple of things that I don't see that are being asked much online is like, well, what does happen if China inks a trade deal or a phase one trade adherence agreement? There's a lot of, I'm not really big on long-term forecasting, but there's definitely been a lot of talk about increased chances of drought this summer. So there's just a couple of things out there that we go from a very, very bearish scenario because of 170 million metric ton soybean crop out of Brazil to maybe it's not necessarily so bearish if we only get 83 million acres of beans and we don't have the best summer. So it's just something kind of food for thought. It's not that I don't want to hedge. Still want to obviously set some parameters for the year, but I do see kind of a quick, as the pendulum switches from 3 years of kind of falling markets to at least our first kind of sign of sustainable strength, and everyone's ready to sell is what it seems to me, and that might be the right thing to do, but I definitely want to go in with a little bit of a balance and caution.
Yeah, that's a good point. Ben, what's on your mind this morning?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with Dustin. And I'm going to point out that, he brought up going back in November when December corn looked like it had no hope, no friends, no future, and pointing out that there was a place to be patient because PLC was right there. And that's been I think, we talk about getting your guarantees in place and understanding how all that plays together. I think that bit of patience put a lot of people at ease, at least for the short term. When you look at these markets, there's going to be a lot of balance sheet adjusting, posting, etc. over the next 45 days. And there's still a lot of variables that go into getting to those numbers. I'm a big fan of saying I don't use the words never, every, and always when it comes to commodities. And I think that this is a perfect example when you start looking at balance sheets, and it will be the mantra of a lot of people. But the reality is we have to perform in safrinha, we have to perform in U.S. corn, and pretty quickly the bean situation domestically could turn. So I think you have to have an open mind going into the next 5 or 6 months of the possibilities in both directions. So
very good. Justin, put a ball on the week for us here. Parting shots as we head into the weekend on the green side.
Yes, good comments by Dustin and Ben. So agree with a lot of those. And this time of year, I like to look at what you can do now. And we hit levels in corn. I think 480 was kind of a target that we had that we should at least try to get to. I think the market's done a good job of getting the ratio, getting the flat price, going into crop insurance, trying to get acres. In the 420s, it just, there was too much risk with such a tight global balance sheet for corn. So the market's responded. The funds have gotten in. You've had a nice trend, like I said, going into crop insurance. So, now what? I think with these big change in subsidies, with the tools that are available, if you look at how to spend the smartest dollars, which we talk a lot on this show, to get, the best coverage, put yourself in a good position going into planting. I think we're in place for that right now. I think the combination of what you can do around Farm Bill, around crop insurance, what you can do in some of these options, the way they're priced, I think the market is giving us an opportunity where we could put ourselves in a really good position. So, I do want to, as friendly as I am corn and the things that have to be proven, like safrinha, all these things, we are going into a massive report March 31st. So I think it's time to really sharpen the pencil, not to be, overuse that term, but there are things you can do right now that can put yourself in a really good position. And there's not a reason that you should go into fall and be like, I never had a chance to do anything. So that's my opinion on it. There's smart ways to spend that dollar and set yourself up for almost anything right now. A massive bear market, a massive bull market. I think if you use the tools correctly and just be smart on the dollar spent, I think it's going to be a good opportunities this year, a good season for producers.
Well, and step one is the next 3 weeks of that crop insurance audit that we've talked about, right? It's that first deep dive into what we can use right off the top and then expand upon.
Yeah, 100%. And we talk about cross hedging. We talk about a lot of things with our clients. And if you look at, just the moves that, let's take corn versus soybeans, for example, the relationships, the things that happen, especially when you're going into big uncertain periods like planting intentions and things like that. You look at total farm revenue and you look at the combination of what's available in crop insurance, the different farm programs, the different relationships between the flat price. There's a lot of things you can do and leave yourself open for if the market has a major reaction. Let's say that the market overdoes it on corn acres or underdoes it. There's lots of things that you can do. And then if the market really tries to incentivize the other way, which we've seen a lot of years, like, oh man, we overshot this, or something happened and the market has to really quickly adjust prices to win back acres of one crop or the other, you can put yourself in a position, in my opinion, to be open on 10 or 20% of acres if something like that happens. So it's just about being prepared for what you're like. If this happens, what are you going to do about it? Try to start kind of role playing on, if the market does this, if it overreacts, how can I course correct to try to gain, $50 an acre in profitability if that opportunity presents itself.
Yeah.
So that's that time of year. Yeah, that's the time of year where some fun things can happen. I say, now, and then, obviously the summer, that's the summer markets where you just have to have a game plan. And then once you have crop insurance, once you have all these things, the market can do a lot of crazy things going into harvest and those things where you can really trade and move around your position. So it's important to get the right tools in my opinion, so that you have that flexibility in the future, meaning the summer, fall, to really maneuver around those tools.
Yeah, that's all all good advice, and certainly give us a shout if you want to bounce some ideas. We're more than happy to visit. Well, Ryland, real quick here, we'll move over to cattle. We got big cattle on feed here today, 2:00 Central. Maybe run through some numbers there. We also, in that complex, looks like we've pretty well had cash establish itself for the week, and then hogs, continuing to, battle a weak cutout. It feels like, that's kind of the major news I saw this morning. But anyway, give us your 2 cents, and we'll wrap up the week.
Yeah, definitely. All eyes are going to be on the report here this afternoon. Market's looking for on feed at 99.3, placements at 103.7, and marketing's at 102.1. So, these bigger placement numbers are definitely catching some eyes, and the fact that the market's pretty weak going in, definitely a little concerning. I mean, it's been a rough ride in the cattle complex. We saw cash trade sub $2. So I think, you're just taking a lot of wind out of a lot of sales right now. You got April down below the 50-day. So yeah, I mean, we need something to kind of catch here, and beef prices just haven't really been much of a help at this point. So we saw choice down another $1.26 yesterday, select down 58. So the trend is definitely lower on the meat side of things, and this is kind of the vulnerable time frame seasonally for that to happen. So I think everybody's hoping to get out of this month and maybe start anew, but overall the trend is definitely weak. So hopefully we get a bit of a surprise on the report. May look to kind of save the market here. Otherwise it looks like kind of an intermediate to longer term trend, maybe turning a bit lower. So looking for that on the report here today. On the hog side of things, yeah, I mean, it's been kind of a similar pattern from what we've been seeing. We rally up to new contract highs, break right to the 100-day moving average, rally back up, make a new high, break back to the average. So it seems like we're right there, so really want to see more kind of buyer support here, but we are definitely seeing some weakness on the cutout side. Bellies were down another $7, and we're trading 136.52 yesterday. Cash was also lower, down 254. So definitely some negative news. So we'll see. Maybe we see some follow through, but generally the market's been saved pretty much every time we test these levels. So we'll see if that holds.
Very good. Appreciate it. We made it, fellas. Another week in the books, which brings us to one of our more popular segments of the week. Brian, it's Fun Fact Friday. What do you got for us, buddy?
Thanks, Dan. Looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Lewis. An iconic line from Trading Places from AgYield and Murphy. This Friday Fun Fact stems from Justin earlier this week, bringing up our friend Clarence Speaks and the USDA report, getting that early. So I went into a little deep dive on some fun facts from the iconic Trading Places movie. It was originally titled Black and White, written for Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. Unfortunately, Richard Pryor set himself on fire doing drugs, and it was a win for Eddie Murphy and put himself on the map. Screenwriters in LA were drinking with traders, and since LA is 3 hours behind New York, those happy hours were pretty early. So trying to get the lingo for the traders aspect of the movie. Initially, AgYield and Murphy were supposed to trade live on the COMEX exchange, but they caused such a disruption they had to halt trading, so they moved that to a weekend. G. Gordon Liddy, as we all know, the man behind the Watergate break-in during Nixon's presidency, was all set to be the actor who played Clarence Beeks until he read the last scene of the movie where him in a gorilla costume gets sexually assaulted by another gorilla. So
that was too much for him.
Yes, that was too much, and he backed out, and we were left with the principal from Breakfast Club. Speaking of the gorilla, we know that Beeks, the actor in Beeks, was in one of the gorilla suits. Do you know who was in the actually other suit?
Oh, man.
It was supposed to be for John Belushi, but unfortunately he passed, so it was his brother Jim Belushi was in the other gorilla suit.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
And lastly, my favorite traders line from the movie, is you make no friends in the pits and you take no prisoners. 1 minute you're up $500,000 in soybeans, and the next, boom, your kids don't go to college and they repossess your Bentley. So thought that was a good way to cap this week after it's been a crazy week. So have a great weekend, guys. Oh, and by the way, happy birthday, Ben. Ben's birthday is on Sunday.
Whoa.
Oh,
Yeah.
happy
Oh.
birthday. Look at that.
45,
38 never
45,
felt so
40,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been trading for 30 years and he's 38.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
a big up and comer.
Finally ran a car.
Thanks, Brad. That's good stuff. We just opened the markets here. We got March corn down $0.015, 4.96 3/4. March soybeans are down 4.5 at 10.40 3/4. And March Chicago wheat's up 5 1/4 at 5.90 1/4. We have talked about it ad nauseum here, but want to point out that we've got a special deal going on here through April 1st for new AgYield clients. Jack has some info in the outro, but certainly if you got any questions on crop insurance or how this all fits in with your marketing, certainly give us a call. We'd love to chat with you. Appreciate everybody that tunes in on a daily basis. If you wouldn't mind, throw us a like and certainly subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything to do so. It'll keep you up to speed on everything that's going on with AgYield. So thanks again to everybody that supports the show. We're doing this live every day that the markets are open on X, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live, 8:15 Central Time. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and we look forward to talking to you again next week.
At AgYield, we know that farmers are constantly confronted by new challenges, and 2025 is no exception. Markets are volatile, margins are shrinking, and lender confidence is in free fall. Farmers need industry support now more than ever, which is why we are offering something truly unprecedented. From now until April 1st, new AgYield clients can access our full suite of consulting services and cutting-edge technology at 50% off. This is more than a promotion. It's our way of extending a hand of support to farmers when they need it most. From precision grain marketing to innovative risk management strategies, we're committed to protecting your farm's profitability and building a stronger, more sustainable future. And together, we can weather the storm ahead. Visit us today at agyield.com or call 855-266-6241 to get started. Terms and conditions apply. Check out the video description to learn more.